That's right over top of Mike Helton's motorhome.
Yep. You missed the windshield.
Missed the windshield 3 times in a row. So I did pretty good.
All right, watch out for people trying to hit yours.
Okay.
All right, Bill.
Okay, thank you, Marty. This is the year of the young driver, and that's why 60-year-old Morgan Shepherd and his car owner, his wife Cindy, are leading this race, the Pennsylvania 500. How's that sound, Morgan?
Hey, that sounds great. You reckon maybe we can talk them into calling a race here in a little
Or just
bit?
finish under caution, run all the rest of the laps under cautions, huh? That'd be good for you, wouldn't it?
There, actually, our Ford is pretty good, but we don't have the muscle to jump up there like some of the other guys. And I just like to say thanks to all the people out there that's helped me, and thank the Lord that Steve Park and Dale Jr. wasn't hurt down there.
And so many of your fans glad to see you back at the racetrack. Now tell me how you got the engine that's in that race car.
Well, actually, I got a 58 Chevy. I had a 58 Chevy, 409, and a friend of mine, Jerry Hill, had bought it last year from Robert Yates, and I traded my 58 Chevy for that engine, and here we are.
All right, well, best of luck to you. Good seeing you, and we'll look to see you again in a few races later this year.
Thank you, Bill. Looking forward to talking to you.
Okay, the Shepherds, they're leading the race, guys.
Traded a 58 Chevy.
I don't know. I think, man, that'd be hard to get rid of my 58 Chevy.
He wants to race.
He really wants to race badly.
Cleaning up and drying out the Pocono International Raceway. And looking pretty good. About 2 hours and 40 minutes we've been sitting under the red flag for rain, but I see a lot of dry pavement. And we'll hope to get this race back underway very, very shortly. Fans have been patient. We are hopeful that we'll see the resumption of the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys shortly. Sun is shining. They are working hard to get this racetrack ride, but it is so big, 2.5 miles around, that it takes, it's a job to get it done. While we wait on the restart, let's check in with Matt.
Well, Alan, Jeff Green finished second, a career best last week in New Hampshire, and you're trying to carry over that confidence and momentum, but right now you are struggling back in 34th.
Yeah, our LL car wasn't very good there on the green flag start there, and just loose all the way through the corner and pushing too, so that wasn't very much fun to drive. But
how are you going to fix it?
We're going to come in here and change a right rear spring and hook a rear sway bar up and kind of get like the 29 is. He's pretty good, so we're going to just kind of change our car over to that. The caution laps, Matt, is they're so long here. I feel like we'll have a couple of caution laps when we get going here to get the track completely dry. So the good thing about the north up here, I guess in the east too, you got a lot of daylight left, so I feel like we'll get this whole race in.
Well, pit road could be a very busy place with a number of drivers struggling this afternoon, Alan.
Okay, Matt. You know, you're probably just like us. You want to see some race cars on the racetrack. It's been a while since we've done that.
Me?
Yeah.
Of course I do.
Well, I'm talking to everyone.
Oh, I mean, the folks that's listening to us.
That have waited out this whole rain delay with us.
Of course
and we
they
are
do.
so grateful they've done that. Let's see some race cars on the racetrack. How about the Daytona 500 in February? The very end of it, when all that drama was unfolded in those last few laps.
Is that what we're going to see?
Yeah, that's what we're going to see.
Do it.
Let's go back and watch the end of the 2002 Daytona 500. Race cars on the racetrack, please.
Looked almost like Loudon, New Hampshire last weekend with Tommy Baldwin and Ward Burton congratulating each other after winning the race.
You know, and looking back at Daytona and relating it to last weekend too, Benny, it's one of the great things about these races. You just don't know what's going to happen until the last lap is run.
There's just no way to know. Last week, Ward Burton led about the last 100 laps, and you wondered, could he make it on fuel? The final decision was not made until the checkered flag waved.
Hey, got good news. They're calling the drivers to their cars. We're going to get the race cars on the racetrack here, too.
Fantastic. Let's go.
About time. Mike Skinner going to get cinched back up in his Chevy. The 40 drivers still in the running in the Pennsylvania 500, about to get back to the office. Drivers are getting buckled into their cars once again here at Pocono Raceway as TNT brings you continuing coverage of the Pennsylvania 500 presented by Pep Boys. Sun's out. The fans have stayed.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? They're all still here. You know, Pennsylvania, I think there's more NASCAR fans per capita in Pennsylvania than any state in the union.
Ward?
Hurry, Ward!
Better hurry up. We're about to get started without you. Yeah, you know, so many short tracks in Pennsylvania, so many great fans. This track has been so well supported, and none of them have left. They all want to see this race. And we want to thank you for staying with us at home, too. It's been a long wait. The first red flag for 1 hour and 5 minutes after the big accident on lap 1, and now we're closing in on, what, 2 full hours of red flag here for this rain. Big track, long time to dry, but Bill, we're just about ready.
We certainly are, and so are the crews, and certainly so are the drivers. Among the stories that have unfolded here at Pocono this weekend, the story of the 26 car, normally driven by Todd Bodine, but this weekend driven from the start of the weekend to the end of the weekend, when we finally get there, by Jeffrey Bodine. Why? Well, Todd had a bush race to run in Pikes Peak, Colorado, and there really wasn't a sensible move to bring him back as the way the team looked at it. So they put Jeffrey in the car from the beginning of the weekend, got the car set up for him, got him in the race. Now they're hoping that Jeffrey Bodine, a three-time winner here at Pocono, can take that 26 to the front. Let's go further down pit road to Dave Burns.
Bill, when Rusty Wallace wrecked on the opening lap of the race, he brought it to the garage, and the crew went to work first on the rear end of the car. They made major repairs back there, and then when the red flag came out for rain, they feverishly went to work around the front of the car. They obviously can't work on the car during a red flag, but they worked on the rear lower control arm mount so they can fix it back up in there. They fabricated parts. They laid them near it. They laid them on it, but they weren't allowed to work on the car itself. NASCAR officials have been here the entire time. Now they just wait until the race goes back to caution so they can begin their work once again on the front end. Marty?
Dave, everybody is anxious to get this race going again, but probably no driver more anxious than Jeremy Mayfield. The car is very good for Jeremy. He has won 2 times here at Pocono. He sits in the 6th position with 4 tires. The second car in line that has taken 4 tires. The cars in front of him, other than Tony Stewart, have 2 tires or no tires. With the rubber washed off the racetrack and the sun out, many feel like 4 will be better than 2. We'll have to find out. Matt?
Marty, for those who might have missed it and now scoring at home, Joe Nemechek will restart from the 2nd position. A great call by his crew chief, Brian Patty. They pitted right before the caution flew, beat the rain and the caution. They took on 2 tires. And now he feels like after the track bar adjustment, trying to fix that very loose race car with those 2 tires as well, that 25 car now has track position and can contend for the win. He hasn't had a top 10 finish here in the last 12 starts. They're hoping to break their luck of 2000 with some good luck, and also some good luck here at Pocono, Alan.
All right, the drivers are getting all in. They were waiting on a couple of stragglers like Ward Burton to finish hooking up all the safety equipment.
It's not just a simple matter for these drivers to step in the car and buckle the seat belts. I was watching the other day, yesterday at the Busch race in Pikes Peak, and Jason Keller getting in his car. You know, the left belt is stationary. You can't adjust that. You have to do all the adjustment with the right side. And the left one is so tight, you barely can't put the thing in. I watched him get in the car, and it must have taken him 4 or 5 minutes to get buckled up and be ready to go on the racetrack.
But as we saw earlier today, you want all that safety equipment in place and ready to go before you fire that car and roll off. Oh, it's been quiet here for long enough. Time to kickstart my heart.
Well, tell them. Oh.
That lovely noise you hear in the background are the sounds of 40 NASCAR Winston Cup engines that have rumbled to life once again.
That's what I thought was going to kickstart your heart.
Well, I'm not
was
that
the sound
good.
of racing engines.
I don't have that kind of power. But we did kickstart the music, and now we've got the cars running, and we're about set to resume this thing finally. If you're just joining us, you've only missed 27 of the scheduled 200 laps of this thing, and you missed about 3 hours of red flag time, too. Turn 1, lap 1, turned into Calamity Corner for Steve Park.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Rusty Wallace. Watch this as those 2 cars get hooked up, and Steve Park takes out about 100 feet of that metal guardrail separating the racetrack and the fans.
Fortunately, both drivers okay. Dale Earnhardt Jr. obviously concerned for his teammate, took the check. Park was trying to extricate himself from the car, and a few moments later, Steve did just that, much to the delight of everyone.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. watches they walk away from the car arm in arm.
Then we ran for about 25 laps. Then it started raining. Parked the cars on pit road, covered them up. That's it. That is what's happened so far. Through 4 hours of coverage, you've seen 27 laps of racing.
All right, they're back on the racetrack.
I wasn't sure we were going to see that again today.
Skinner just waited for all those guys, Ward Burton especially, to get out of his way. All right, he's in third gear right now, Wally.
And that's the last time you'll see that car in third gear.
Exactly.
All right, Wally, put me back in the driver's seat here. We talked earlier about after the first red flag, if you had to get yourself psyched back up. Now you've been sitting for another 2 hours.
Yeah, this is probably the most mellow these drivers will ever start a race because, like I said, they have been sitting around, and I think they just want to get this thing going, get it over with. So, it's a lot different, I think, BP, than it was when we first dropped the green flag because everybody's had time to just think about it and chill out.
Oh, it's so much different. You know, when these guys come to a racetrack on the weekend, I mean, the adrenaline starts on Thursday when they drive in here and they realize tomorrow's qualifying day, Friday's qualifying day, that adrenaline starts building. And about noon on Sunday, it's as high as it's going to get. And I'm telling you right now, it's back down about where it was Friday morning.
Yeah, because everybody is so programmed. Everything is by the schedule, and everybody's used to doing the same thing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So this really breaks it up.
So do you have to talk yourself back up to the intensity level you need for the restart?
I don't think you really have to talk yourself up. I think once you get in the car, you fire that engine, and these guys are rolling right now. Everybody's as focused as they ever have been, but I think it's just everybody's a little bit more relaxed.
Dale Jr.'s back out, came out from the garage just as the red flag came out. Dave?
And they will get penalized to the end of the longest line, but they were there anyway for coming in before they made a lap around here. They've replaced a lot of tape on that new nose. There's the letters on the left front of the valence there, DMP for Dirty Mo Posse, and he heads back out having checked the tow and filled it full of fuel.
Yeah, they had some time on their hands, huh?
In Junior's interview, he talked about his car and doesn't seem like any of the steering mechanism, the chassis is bent on the car. All it was sheet metal. Well, sheet metal, the radiator, the water pump, the alternator, the power steering pump, everything in front of the engine. But basically the chassis is okay, so he might run okay.
Listen to the fans roar as the cars come by the grandstand for the first time. They stuck it out. An hour of red flag time earlier, 2 hours of rain delay time now. But they're going to get to see what they paid their money for, which is the Pennsylvania 500.
Hey, watching this Pennsylvania 500 has been an all-day job so far.
Got some guys on pit road. Matt?
Well, Alan, Jeff Green is in. Remember, you heard during his interview under the red flag, they were going to make a number of changes. Right now, they're making the track bar. They're going to change the right rear spring. They're going to hook up the rear sway bar. And they were also talking about putting a spring rubber in the left rear. I asked Todd Barrier, what exactly is he saying about the car? He says, I don't know. He can't describe it. But it is a little bit tight. They're going to try to free it up. Bill?
Ricky Rudd started second in this race, currently seventh with his crew chief, Michael McSwain. What's the situation with that car? What do you think the weather is going to do to the way it's handling?
Car's a little bit off. We'd like to be a little better than we are, but we're pretty good. Made a couple adjustments, a little loose one place, a little tight another. I think we'll be okay. I mean, the car's doing what it wants to do. We need like a little bit of consistent weather for a couple of laps in a row.
That would be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah. You brought the same car back here that you won with, too, or almost won with.
Yeah. The car we won with, we lost in Richmond last year. The car we should have won with last race, that's this car. We only had to replace a little bit of it, so I think we're going to be pretty good.
Okay, we'll be watching with you, okay?
All right, thanks.
All right, that's McSwain. Here's Marty.
Bill, points leader Sterling Marlin sits in third with 2 tires. Lee McCall looked like a great call with 2 tires. At the time, it did get you the track position, but now there's no rubber on the track. Are you worried about only having 2 tires out there?
No, not at all. You know,